my topic for today is Sister Nivedita on Death Rituals and Mukti. The title is A Metaphoric Discourse is what I have called. Before I delve, would like to when it is not any another scholarly presentation by a Western scholar, but we should understand that it is from Nivedita. It is from someone who at that time was more Indian than the contemporary Indians. Before Nivedita came to India and she accepted the discipleship by Swami Vivekananda, Vivekananda had fired many warnings to her. Vivekananda told that basically you Western people have one problem, that you are trying to impose your own ideals, mission onto people, and you are just trying to overpower them. But when you are coming to India, you do one thing: you love India and try to make Indians more Indian and awaken that Indianness into them. So this is how we can see how Nivedita saw the rituals from the other point of view. And this is a kind of, we can say, a literary discourse that Vedanta has written. And reading Nivedita leads to the whole understanding of Vedic religion. There are nice books which are giving us a glimpse of contemporary India, which is Kali and the Mother, Web of Indian Life, or even Footfalls of Indian History. And Viveka's mission was that to relive Indianness, and Sister Nivedita was the right person who had done it. So Nivedita, what I have tried to do is that I have tried to collect Nivedita's, some of her, she has written huge volumes on the rituals. I have tried to collect something that is related to mukti, then liberation, understanding of the soul, and one chapter she has written on rites and rituals for the dead. So I have collected all that and tried to connect it to how she put that theory into the practice. How to perform the rituals is not the focal point of my presentation, but I am trying to understand from her letters and biographies that how she understood that Vivekananda had a perfect sannyasi in death, and she carried on. 9 years after Vivekananda, she lived, and she carried on the mission very in a nice manner. So she understood the Hindu concept of liberation and mukti. And she also understood, she explained how was her manner was explain the ritual, and she used to tell the metaphysics behind the religion. So a cache of Nivedita's literature is dedicated to erudite expositions of Hinduism.
Kanchanji, your audio is going low.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better, but your video also, probably there is some net speed problem or something like that.
Net connectivity issue. There could be a connectivity issue. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So Nivedita's literature is dedicated to the erudite expositions of Hinduism. That is in a two manner. First is philosophical and ritualistic. How she embraced the religion of Vedas, that was after grasping its finer nuances only. So understanding the symbolic side, we can understand the metaphysical implications of the religion by Nivedita's reading of them. And secondly, like I had already explained, that I'm also trying to throw light on how Vivekananda's death deepened Nivedita's understanding of death and mukti in Hinduism. And we are calling it a metaphoric discourse because ritual itself is a metaphor. So she adapted to the styles, one of like those in Puranas, how they explain certain rituals. She has adopted the similar style. So I have taken, she has written one chapter, giving us all the list of postmortem rituals. Then other writings are explaining mukti and freedom of the soul. So here, what she's trying to tell you, she is just giving you. I was taken back to my Konkan household where we had courtyard and everything, and every time when the death took place, whatever how it happened systematically, this is how Nivedita explained us completely. So she is explaining, she is giving us a symbol, some household where a death has taken place, some elderly person has died, and how the ritualistic proceeding takes place. That is what she has written. And here, before she writes, she is telling that Hindu doctrine is very implicit, that no act or any ritual or any rite or any ceremony or symbol which is more than symbolistic. But what determines its value is its effect on the mind. So here she is telling you the first thing. I'm not explaining all the rituals in detail, but I'm just giving you the sequence how she has done. First thing that she notices that that dead body is always kept in an open space or a veranda because it is cruel for the soul for death to take place beneath the roof. Beneath the roof. So whenever death takes place, it was a ritual in Hindu families to keep the body for the last rites outside the house, which was courtyard or veranda. Then she is also trying women beneath the well how they are crying, but they don't come forward. Then how first all men are offering Ganga water and flower. That is also followed by women. Then she is explaining the meaning of Ram Nam Satya Hai or Hari Bol Hari, means only let the name of Lord is true. Then she also quotes Gita that for one who is born, death is certain, and who is dead, the birth is certain. Then she is explaining all the ceremonies at the burning ghat, the funeral pyre, why the eldest son is performing the last rite. It is not just a duty, but she calls it privilege. Then she is also giving us the importance of fire, importance of cremation, and Pindana, Asthi Visarjan, everything she is explaining. After that, how people are supposed to enter the house after they come from the crematorium. First, they take bath, unless and until they take bath and they are purified, they don't enter the home. Then she is also explaining us what is called Sutaka, or any household where death takes place, that mourning period is observed. It differs from community to community, but it generally differs from 3 days to 12 days to 15 days. And she is telling that what is important, that after the purification of home, it is important to resume the post-death duties. The new head of the family is also introduced to the society on the 16th day. So what she is telling, she is also quoting some hymns from the Vedas, which she called Hindu prayers pre-sanctification of labor after mourning. So here, what I'm trying to tell you, it is not a manual of instruction, or it is not very systematic account. But here, what is she doing? Is she is driving metaphysics behind the religious rituals. Then we have, since morning we have been telling that ritual is symbolism. But what do they symbolize? So she is talking about the immortality of soul and mukti. And she is also explaining how rituals took the practical side into the account. Again, what I would like to tell you is that second part of my thesis is how she herself understood death very, very properly. When Swamiji died, she wrote many letters. And in that letters, she tried to connect the threads that Swamiji had premonition of his death. Then sometimes he told her that I'm drawing near death and please don't drag me into all these worldly things. Then she also observed that whenever Swamiji wrote condolences letters to his disciples, friends, admirers, whatever, he used to write that it is not my custom to write to the people when someone is dead, because I do not believe in this material death. It is just like changing the dress guard from one dress to another dress. There is no death of the soul, and you all have to remember that. And when when Swamiji himself died, Nivedita has written to one of his disciples that I don't have time to mourn. I cannot even grieve because there is so much work that he has left for us. And in one of the letters, she has also mentioned that I'm very, very happy that Swamiji is closer to us much more than he was alive. That this poor and tortured body is released. And then she is also trying to connect the threads how Jesus had washed the feet of his disciples before crucifixion. Swamiji had also done same to her, but she is explaining that she couldn't correlate to all that. But when he died, the picture was complete for her. That Swamiji was trapped in a body and he was released, and she understood that she had to carry on with her work. And she understood her own death as well. As her own death was drawing nearer, She left everything in a perfect order. And when Abala Bose, who was the wife of Jagdish Chandra Bose, who was next to her deathbed, she heard Sister Nivedita saying that the boat is sinking, but I shall see the sunrise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kanchanji.